An 8-headed monster demanded human sacrifice every year. This beast, a serpent of terrifying scale, devoured 8 innocent maidens annually. The story you are about to hear has been hidden in plain sight, a primal tale of heroism and horror. You will discover the desperate plan of Susanoo-no-Mikoto, the rogue storm god, to save his beloved Kushinadahime, and witness the birth of the legendary Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, one of Japan's most sacred treasures. Imagine the ancient land of Izumo, a remote, mist-shrouded province in western Japan. The scent of pine and damp earth hangs heavy around you. You hear the distant, mournful wail of a family, a sound that chills you to the bone. They are preparing for the arrival of the Yamata no Orochi, the 8-headed serpent, for the ritual that will claim their youngest daughter. This terrifying myth, recorded in the Kojiki, Japan's oldest collection of myths and legends, tells a tale of ultimate sacrifice and divine intervention. We journey back to a time before Japan, as we know it, to the very dawn of its recorded history, around 712 AD, when the Kojiki, Japan's oldest collection of myths and legends, was first compiled. This was a world steeped in the belief of kami, powerful deities and spirits, who shaped every aspect of life, from the sun in the sky to the trees in the forest. Think of ancient Greece, where Zeus and his pantheon ruled Olympus, but here, the gods were even more intertwined with the land itself. At the heart of this pantheon was Amaterasu, the radiant goddess of the sun, from whom the imperial family claims direct descent. But where there is light, there is shadow. Her younger brother was Susanoo-no-Mikoto, the god of storms and the sea, a wild, impetuous deity, sometimes a hero, sometimes a troublemaker, much like a rebellious prince always causing chaos in the royal court. These stories are not just fables, they are the bedrock of Japan's identity, explaining the origins of its land, its people, and even its sacred objects. They tell us what the ancient Japanese valued: courage, sacrifice, and the protection of the innocent. But what transgression could lead even a god to be banished from the heavens, and force him to wander a land plagued by a monster born of pure terror? Susanoo-no-Mikoto, in his impetuous nature, had committed several offenses in the heavenly realm, including destroying Amaterasu's rice fields and desecrating her weaving hall. For these acts, he was banished, cast down to the mortal world. He descended to the province of Izumo, a wild, beautiful land that was, at that time, gripped by fear. There, he encountered an old man and woman weeping inconsolably beside their daughter, Kushinadahime. Every year, they explained, a monstrous 8-headed serpent called Yamata no Orochi would demand a sacrifice, one of their daughters. 7 had already been taken, and now only Kushinadahime remained. But here is what nobody tells you. The Yamata no Orochi wasn't just a beast, it was described as having 8 heads and 8 tails, its body so vast it spanned 8 valleys and 8 hills. Its eyes were like crimson cherries, its back covered in moss and cypress trees, and its belly was perpetually bloody and inflamed. It wasn't just a serpent, it was a living, breathing landscape of horror, a force of nature itself. Susanoo, seeing Kushinadahime's beauty and the family's despair, vowed to help. But how could even a god of storms defeat a monster of this magnitude, a beast that had terrorized the land for generations? Susanoo, rather than confronting the beast head-on with brute force, devised a cunning plan that relied on deception and the monster's own greed. He instructed the old couple to brew immense quantities of sake, a traditional Japanese rice wine, and prepare 8 enormous vats. These vats, filled to the brim, were then placed behind a fence with 8 gates, each waiting for one of the Orochi's monstrous heads. The scent of the sake would be irresistible. You can almost feel the ground tremble as the Yamata no Orochi approaches, its 8 heads weaving through the night, searching for its annual meal. But instead of a maiden, it finds the intoxicating aroma of sake. Each of its 8 heads, driven by insatiable thirst, plunged into a separate vat, drinking deeply, greedily. Imagine the scene: 8 massive serpent heads, each larger than a small house, guzzling rice wine until their eyes glazed over. The serpent grew heavy. Its scales shimmered. Its breathing deepened. Soon, all 8 heads slumped into a drunken stupor, the monster completely vulnerable. This was Susanoo's moment. Drawing his mighty sword, he began to hack at the beast. Head after head fell, blood gushing like rivers. But as he reached the fourth tail, his blade struck something impossibly hard. What could be hidden within the very core of such a creature? The resistance Susanoo felt in the Orochi's tail was no bone or muscle, but something far more extraordinary, a magnificent, shining sword. With a final, powerful strike, Susanoo sliced open the tail and extracted the blade. This was no ordinary weapon, it was the Ame-no-Murakumo-no-Tsurugi, later renamed Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, the grass-cutting sword. It gleamed with an ethereal light, a divine artifact born from the heart of the beast itself. Having defeated the monster and saved Kushinadahime, Susanoo married her, establishing his own lineage in Izumo. He had transformed from a banished troublemaker into a triumphant hero. Picture the storm god, his face streaked with sweat and serpent blood, holding aloft the newly discovered sword, its blade reflecting the dawn, a symbol of divine power and hard-won victory. The terrified villagers, who had known only despair, now cheered, their shouts echoing through the valleys. The land was finally free from the shadow of the Yamata no Orochi. The Kusanagi-no-Tsurugi, the sword found within the serpent, became one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan, sacred objects representing the legitimacy of the emperor himself. It symbolizes valor and courage, a physical link to these ancient myths that still define the nation. And Susanoo-no-Mikoto, the god who wielded it, remains a complex figure, a storm god of destruction, but also a protector who rescued a maiden and brought peace to a land. Even today, the legend of Yamata no Orochi lives on. In some local traditions, particularly around Mount Ibuki, a sacred peak, people believe the serpent actually survived its encounter with Susanoo and fled there, where it is still venerated as Ibuki Daimyojin, a local deity. This shows the enduring power of these tales, how they adapt and find new life in the hearts of people. These stories are more than just ancient folklore, they are the soul of Japan, woven into its landscapes and its spirit. The tale of the 8-headed serpent reminds us that even the most terrifying darkness can be overcome by cunning, courage, and a single, shining blade. If this story moved you, subscribe to Japan Storyteller, new stories